If you grew up as a gamer in the mid to late 90s or 2000s, there's a good chance that when you see and hear this, you experience a wave of memories and deep-seated emotions. It's like receiving a visit from an old friend or being instantly transported back to an era when times were simpler, less stressful, and more fun. Depending on your age, the same effect can be achieved by watching intros or games that you experienced while you were growing up. It's that all-important nostalgia factor, a powerful force that takes us back to cherished moments from our childhood, shared memories with friends, and a time when gaming was less about technology and more about pure, unfiltered enjoyment. It's something unique that no modern game can ever achieve, no matter how mind-blowing its graphics or how innovative its controls are. The nostalgia factor is why retro games are experiencing a resurgence right now, and why many new games are trying to replicate the look and feel of titles from the past. Of course, there are other elements at play too, so allow me to dive deeper and explain once and for all why retro games are still popular. I suppose the first thing we need to clarify is, what is a retro game? There's no set definition that determines if a game is retro or not. Generally speaking, a game is considered retro if the system it was originally played on is outdated or discontinued. This means that technically titles like Grand Theft Auto 4 could be considered retro. However, we usually think of two-dimensional titles from the 80s and 90s like the original Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, or early Sonic the Hedgehog games when we think of retro games. Considering that the average gamer is around 35 to 37 years old, they are more likely to have experienced these games during childhood and remember them fondly when revisited years later. As one Redditor on r/gaming put it, the generation that grew up in the golden age of gaming in the 90s is now grown up and are nostalgic for the games they grew up with and are playing them again. That also influences younger generations to play certain games that for them are considered retro, but to us, it's simply a special happy place that takes us back to when we were 10 years old. But how and when did retro gaming come about? As technology continued to evolve into the late 2000s, there was a shift toward high-definition three-dimensional graphics and online connectivity. While newer games pushed boundaries, many gamers began looking back, yearning for the charm and simplicity of the classics. Modern games tended to rely on realism and cinematic elements, while retro games prioritized intuitive mechanics, challenging gameplay, and imaginative storytelling. Not only that, but players in their 20s and 30s had developed a sentimental attachment to the games they enjoyed as children or teens. These titles often reminded them of the excitement of unboxing their first console, staying up late to beat a tough level, or bonding with friends and family over multiplayer matches. Realizing this, modern indie game studios became inspired by the classics and began producing titles like Celeste and Shovel Knight, which drew heavily from the mechanics, art styles, and music of early video games, furthering their appeal to nostalgic players. Larger established video game companies like Nintendo and Sega also tapped into the nostalgia market by re-releasing classic games and hardware. Miniature versions of consoles like the Nintendo Entertainment System, Classic Edition, and Sega Genesis Mini let players relive the past without needing to hunt for original hardware. On top of that, digital marketplaces like Nintendo Switch Online, the Xbox Game Pass, and PlayStation Store began to offer access to classic libraries, making retro gaming more accessible than ever. And now, platforms like Twitch and YouTube have created vibrant communities of retro gaming enthusiasts. Gamers can stream their playthroughs of classics, introducing old-school titles to new audiences while fostering a sense of shared nostalgia. The great news is that there are many benefits to playing retro games aside from satisfying your nostalgia needs. For starters, retro games are often easy to pick up and play, and they don't require hours of tutorials or complex skill trees to enjoy. Secondly, retro games are often cheaper than modern games. Classic titles are available on digital platforms, in bundles, or through retro gaming collections at a fraction of the cost of new releases. Plus, there are no hidden costs like microtransactions or downloadable content, DLC, as most retro games deliver a complete experience without requiring extra purchases. Thirdly, the fact that retro games are often quite short is actually a bonus for many older gamers who now have responsibilities and can't afford to sink hundreds of hours into one specific game. Besides, many retro games are designed to be replayed, whether through high-score challenges, speedruns, or discovering secrets. Inventive level designs and puzzles offer unique challenges rarely found in modern gaming. But what about the graphics? Well, pixel art and 8-bit or 16-bit graphics have a charm that stands apart from the hyper-realistic visuals of modern games. There's a reason these designs continue to inspire indie developers and resonate with players who appreciate their simplicity and creativity. Sure, it's probably influenced by nostalgia, but that's the point of this video. While modern games can offer stunning visuals, vast worlds, and technological advancements, retro games continue to provide a refreshing break with their timeless design, skill-based challenges, and nostalgic charm. Whether for quick enjoyment, cost-effectiveness, or a deeper connection to gaming history, there are many reasons why retro games are still popular, and I'm all for it. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this content, please like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what tech topics you would like to cover next. Also, don't miss my 5-minute video, where I explore how game design uses psychology to keep you playing. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the other side.